Tim, it's all yours, buddy.
Okay. Bob, can you see my screen? So it says IFPA Classified Sales Training?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay. Hey, good morning, everybody, and thank you. Thank you for joining me. Some of you may recognize my name. Some of you may be new to me. I've been in training and development for 29 years. I want to give you a brief biography of me. 29 years. I've been working with the independent newspapers, and I've been working with community newspapers, just the newspaper industry in general, in about the last 10 years. And when I was going out, when I was first starting working with publications, different properties, different associations like the IFPA, I was always asking, what is the sales program? What is your sales training program? And I'm going to show my age here, guys. Mostly what I got was, okay, we give a person a desk, we give them a account list, we give them a slide rule, and we pretty much give them the sign and the cross and tell them, hey, have at it. So I started going around to the best of the best, and I have two different sales training classes. One is for the outside people, and I know some people are from the in the outside world here, and then the classified session of it, because a lot of publications that I go to throughout the country, their classified revenue is down, and they want to get it built back up. And the reason that how I put this together was I went to the best classified people throughout the country, and I said, what do you do? What do you do when you get in? When do you get in? How many calls do you make? Basically from soup to nuts. The program it's 7 modules long. This is the original. This is the first lesson in it. And I want to get into it because I got a lot of information that I'd like to share with you guys. It talks about, I call it the sales by numbers. Let me get over here. The first thing is, are you reacting or are you responding to things? When I look at the reacting, the other person or the situation is in control. So when I'm talking, whether it be to a business or I'm talking to an individual, am I the person that's controlling the conversation? Am I in control? Am I asking the questions? Because if I get somebody that I'm talking to and they say, okay, hey, what are your rates? How about this? How about this? And I'm basically just rattling off answers. I want to make sure that I am asking questions. Instead of just talking about rate sheets and inches in space, I want to be asking the questions of, okay, hey, I just need to find out a little bit about what you're trying to sell or what your business is so I can put you in the right, our right product that we have here. Because I see most people going in and they're just, rattling things off. So I want to make sure, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, am I reacting or am I responding to the person who I'm talking with? Thinking back to just this morning, if you made any calls, were you leading the conversation? Were you giving this customer information? Were you trying to help them? They're saying, it's like, yeah, I want to do, I got a gas station here. It's a Jiffy Lube, and I want to actually do some, I want to do something in your car care section. $28.95 is our oil change. And you're like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I just need to ask you a question. I've taken a couple other ads for our car care section, and their oil changes are $19.95. I just want to make sure that you're okay with the $28 because we're talking about $9 here. It's my job to share that information with people and not just look at the ad, take the ad. And I know some of you are at the front desk. Some of your publications may be a little bit smaller that you don't have a true classified or classified department. So you're at the front desk. So somebody brings in an ad and they want to, it's an estate jewelry piece, and they got like 25 estate pieces in a basically 2x2. It's my job to look at this and saying, it's like, this is good. This is way too busy. So I need to make sure that I'm controlling the conversation, that I'm getting them, asking them questions, be able to put them where they need to be within our publications. The sales by numbers, for those of you that have been around sales long enough, you know it's a numbers game. I could take my cat, I can take my cat Binky, and I could put her in any place in the United States with a copy of your publication, and I guarantee you by the end of the day, my cat would sell something. I could put her on Main Street, USA, and with a copy of the publication, I can tell you that my cat's going to sell something by sheer numbers. That people are going to drive by, see the cat, and it's like, see the publication, and says, you know what, I need to do advertising here. I think we're a little bit more evolved than my cat, but these are the numbers that I need to make sure that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Again, Bob had mentioned to me, and when he took the poll, some of you are split with administrative side, and some of you are split with the selling and the servicing side. But if I'm truly, truly a salesperson, I want to make sure that I'm trying to at least be successful on a daily basis. And I'm going to break these numbers down over the next series of slides. 25 is 25 calls per day. To be successful, again, across the country, the best people that are doing this are doing at least 25 calls per day. You notice it's face-to-face. It could be somebody coming in. It could be me going out to meet them. It could be that they just wanted to drop off their ad because they were in the neighborhood and they didn't want to send it in or fax it in or email it to me. So a face-to-face. It could be an email. It could be a voicemail. It could be a text. It could be a fax. Anytime I reach out to a customer is going to be a call. It's going to be a touch. So think back to the last couple of days. Did I make enough calls to be successful? That's the bare minimum. If you're doing more than that, good for you. But the bare minimum is going to be at least 25 calls per day. And I want to be able to balance it between the face-to-face, the email, the voicemail, the text, and the fax. Not just what's comfortable for me, because I've seen too many people sitting in the office. If they're outside people, they're just sitting in the office at 10 o'clock till 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. They're just emailing people. This industry is still very, very, it's personal. It's still either belly to belly, nose to nose, or phone to phone. So I need to make sure that I'm balancing this out. If the customer wants me to text them, I'm okay with that. I want to make it easy for them to do business with us. If they're more of an email person or if they want me to call them, I'm okay with that. I got to look at it from other person-centered, what's easiest for that customer rather than what's easiest for me. So I need to be able to balance, but 25 calls per day. Some of the questions I get, okay, is that 25 different people, Tim? Yes. It's going to be 25 different people. I know we've all done it. Is I called somebody in the morning and they called me, left a message. I called them back, and then they had a problem with their ad, so I go to the graphics. I call them back. I could have about 5 or 6 calls with one person in a day. It's calls per day. It's different people. Well, my territory's not that big enough. Tim, do you realize we're in the northwest corner of Iowa? Yeah. I've had people that I got an outside person over in Harlan, Iowa that I used to work with. They can walk their territory. They can walk it. So when I talk about 25 calls, before you get stressed out here, let me break the calls down. But 25, the 8, because I had 8 selling calls per day. This is asking for the ad. This is when do you want to start? Do you want to run it 16 or 8 weeks or 4 weeks? Whatever your closing question is, and again, this could be done through an email. Here's the copy of the ad. If you don't have any questions or any changes, let's go with no news is good news, and I'll put it in as is next week. So I'm asking or stating that I want to do business with them. This is not a show up and throw up concept. I've seen too many reps when they get on the telephone, especially when they're new or especially if they're nervous, they should just start chatting. They just start throwing out information to people. I've seen sales reps outside that walked into companies, and it's like, okay, we got our car care special, we got our lawn and garden, we got our senior living, we got our restaurant guide, we got our Final Four guide, we got the Easter specials coming up, and they just throw all this stuff down in the person's desk, and then they stand there and look at them. I've got Catholic schooling in my background, and Sister Teresa taught me, she said, ask and you shall receive, not show up and look at them dumbly and you shall receive. So I need to ask. I need to make sure that I'm asking the question of, when do you want to start this? Do you want to do spot color? Do you want to do process color? Do you want to do a black and white? But I need to make sure that I'm asking on a day-to-day basis. And I usually get some pushback questions. Well, they know why I'm there. No, they don't. I mean, I've seen enough professional visitors in my lifetime that if they go in and it's like, yeah, you talk to people and you kind of have conversations and good relationships, but I need to make sure that I'm asking. It's classified sales. It's not classified showing up. So I need to make sure that at least 8 times a day I'm asking for the order. The next 8 is my servicing calls. I want to make sure that I'm servicing people throughout the year. Right now, we got the lawn and garden. We got our car care thing coming up. So faxing or emailing me the copy. It could be even picking up the check. Again, sending out the lawn and garden special they did last year. And sending, hey, I know you did this last year. We're coming up on it. I wanted to send you a copy of the flyer and a copy of the investment numbers just so you have it. I'll give you a call in a couple of days and we can talk about it. So anything that helps us be better than our competition out there. We have graphics departments. I know some of you or your competition is Craigslist. The difference between us and a Craigslist out there is we have graphic people. You don't have to sit at the end of the day of your business day and sit there and try to design an ad. Give me information. Let me do my due diligence and let me help you. Let me take it to the graphics. Let me take it to other people within my company, and we'll put together something for you. That's what we're here for. Anything to help the customer do business with us easier. Hey, I can pick up the check. I can do this. Let me do all of this for you. So anything that makes the customer's experience easy is 8 servicing calls. So again, yesterday, did you call somebody? Hey, I just wanted to let you know that the ad's running out. We have the black and white. Do you want to change anything, or should we go another 4 weeks or 8 weeks with this? So it's anything that's going to help the customer. Anytime that you can reach out to me, even if you're running a special, say on spot color with it, just send that out and just say, hey, Tim, I thought you might want to be interested in this. So it helps me do business with you easier. The next 8 is prospecting calls. A prospecting call is how I define it, and you may want to ask your publisher or your sales manager. I define it as if nobody's within our publication has contacted this person in the last 6 months, they're fair game. I know some of you are inside people, and I'm dealing with the outside, so I got to balance it that I'm not stepping on any of my outside people's toes. I've been on the outside, and I've actually had others inside salespeople in my years when I was selling. And if I didn't prospect my territory, if I haven't been servicing my territory, and you call somebody and they place an ad, or they place an ad, put a marketing campaign together, I come back and I see this on graphics, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, that's my person. Well, Tim, when was the last time you contacted them? Well, I was going to next week. Yeah, you haven't done it in the last year. Fair game. Fair game there. So I want to make sure that I'm balancing, for those of you that are inside, being able to balance it with the outside salespeople. But if you haven't touched base with somebody in 6 months, I'm thinking they're fair game here. The reason I said about 8 prospecting calls and 25 calls, and some of you are thinking, hey, my territory's small enough, we don't have, we got a circulation of 1,300. Okay. But when I look at if I have a rock lot car dealer, or even if I have a car dealer, we usually get the retail side of it. Right away we get the retail. We talk about the service side of it. And that's usually where the conversation ends that I've seen. I want to ask, hey, do you have a body shop here? Do you only do taxes and tags? How about rental cars? How about a parts department? I want to look at those businesses and think, are there other entities within those businesses? Because I know for the certain car dealers that I've seen, I have a parts manager, I got a service manager, I got a body shop manager. When I look at my businesses, if you look at your call list today or go through it from the last week, am I looking at it, did I just go in, was I too tunnel vision in my focus? I have churches here. You could do 8 prospecting calls just in one church. You could probably do 16 prospecting calls within one church. They have the Easter service coming up. They have their rummage sale. They have their potluck dinner. They have their Wednesday night meal. They have their fish fry on Friday night. They have their festival coming up. and it's usually different people that are running those different entities. If any of you are dealing with your cities or your counties, you could walk up and down, one floor and do 8 prospecting calls. I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm about an hour, probably about an hour east, maybe an hour and a half east of Amish country. I know that if you walk into an Amish restaurant, they're not only with the food, but they're probably selling their Afghans, their quilts. They're selling other things in another part of that store. So the reason I say is I need to balance my face-to-face, my emails, and my texting, and my faxes, and my phone calls. If I'm an outside person, I need to be able to go out and see these things, because that's not going to show up on your Dun & Bradstreet spreadsheet here. So I need to make sure that when I look at my businesses, when I call them, are there other things that are there that they want to do? You look at a standard restaurant. If they have a room in the back, do they rent that out? Questions I need to ask. Again, going back, I'm responding now instead of just reacting. Well, I want to put these cars in this week. Okay, great. Do you want to do anything with your rental cars? Do you want to do anything with your taxes and tags? I know here in Pennsylvania, it's like, hey, are you doing any tire repairs here? Because everybody's wheels are busted, everybody's flats are out there. So being able to look at those things, and it's like, you know what? I have been running a special on that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we put that in a separate ad for it? If you're running any specials, hey, come in, get the dents knocked out of your tires. So I want to make sure that on a daily basis I'm prospecting. One of my old sales managers said, you always got to be, adding fuel. You got to be filling the funnel, Tim. You got to be filling the funnel. Because if I lose a customer, I want to be able to replace them with another customer. So I constantly got to be going out and looking and getting and attracting new business. The next 8 that I had, 25, 8, 8, 8, and 8, is 8 repetitions. The American Press Institute is where I got this information. For an ad to work, I need to have that person in at least 8 times, whether it be 8 consecutive weeks, every other week, if you have a monthly publication, but 8 is the magic number here. We all know a one-time ad doesn't work. The final decision is up to me. So if I call you and I say, hey, I want to, I got some tax return money back, I want to run an ad. Okay, Tim, what is it you want to say? What are your customers like? Why do they come back? And then you walk through a series of questions, which I'll get into. And then I'm like, okay, that sounds good. It's like, yeah, I just want to run one ad. Okay, Tim, I know that's good. I can do that. I just need to inform you that in our industry, in what we do here, it's 8 repetitions. You're just trying to suck money out of me. No, I'm not. If you think back, growing up, children should be seen and not heard. If you want something right, you should do it yourself. Don't talk to strangers. How do I spell baloney? O-S-C-A-R, Oscar Mayer. We do things in repetition. So for the ad to work, let me do this. Let me do what you said. You want to run one ad, and this is what you want to do, okay? I'm going to send you over a couple of things. I'm going to send you the one ad for $138. It's an eighth of a page. I'm also going to send you a smaller ad that we can take your $138 and we can take it and we can stretch it out over a period of time. The final decision's yours, but I need to share that information with you. Those are the things I need. So if you're running 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 16 weeks, you want to talk 8 at least, because we all know the one-time ad doesn't work. And we all been in a situation where the ad goes in, and then I call the customer next week, and I'm like, how'd it go? It didn't work. So if you've ever heard the objection, well, I used to advertise, and it never worked. I never got a response back. Well, how long did you run it? Well, I did 1. You know what? I need to apologize for that person, that salesperson who basically robbed you, because they're not going to work. So I want to think in terms of repetitions. I want to put together a marketing plan. This is not a one-shot deal here, guys. The next is 80%. If I look at my customers, if you look at last year, and I know we're near the end of March here, but go to April. Go to April of last year, April 2013, your publications. If you're doing your job correctly, and if you're servicing me, keeping in touch with me, helping me out, you should be able to get 80% of what you had last April this April. So if you're running any car cares or senior living, if you're doing your job, you should be able to go back. So when Bob comes to me or any of my sales managers come to me and say, hey, Tim, what are you going to give me this month, or what are you going to give me for this particular promotional piece we're running? I can go back and I can look at and saying, okay, I got 10 in the senior living. I'm going to be able to get at least 8. And then Bob's saying at least 8. 8 ain't working. You need 12. That's the goal. Okay. Instead of going crazy and I'm thinking, my gosh, where am I going to get 12 at here? All I need, if I'm doing my job correctly, I don't need 12. I need 4, because I've already gotten 8 out of 10, which is the 80%. So if you're trying to, when you're forecasting, and I've been on both sides of the forecast, I've been a salesperson and I've been a sales manager, and I can tell you, if I had a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of everything everybody said that they were going to sell for me, I'd be doing this call not from Allentown. I'd be doing it for my own island in the Caymans probably. I want to be realistic here, guys. I want to make sure that when you're looking at things, don't go crazy on me. Tell me what you can do. But I should be able to retain 80%. And this is industry-wide. We're going to lose 20% of our customer base every year. Whether the person passes away, they close their business, they go to a competitor, their kid just graduated from the state university and is getting involved in this, we're going to lose 20%. That's going back to the prospecting, that I need to make sure that I'm constantly keeping going and focused and expanding my customer base, is the retention rate. The next number is closing. 1 out of 6 is the national average. National average from the people that I've talked to, they need to see 6 people and they'll get 1 ad. So how many customers do you need to talk to get an ad? Again, my cat could do it. It'll be a lot of people that you'll probably come in contact with, but she can get it. Do you know your calls? And I'm down here. Do you know how many calls you need to make, how many contacts, which are the decision makers, appointments, and sales? Because if I know these numbers, it makes it easy. So my numbers in 29 years of training and development, I can go to any place within the United States. I can open up a phone book, a chamber directory, or even use your business directory from your publication. I can call 35 people, and the law of averages, because of my numbers, I'm going to get 8 people, whether it's your publisher, your editor, it could be a human resource person, it could be a training person. I'm going to touch base and talk to at least 8 people. Out of those 8, I'm going to be able to get 3 appointments. And out of those 3 appointments, my closing ratio is 1 out of 3. So when I look at my numbers, how much I want to make this year, I just take it backwards and saying, an average sale of mine is X. How many people do I need to contact? So if it's 1 out of 3, how many people do I need to contact? Because I've seen too many people, they get frustrated. In the beginning of the week, everybody goes in Monday weekend, like a house of fire. So I'm making all these calls, and people are telling me to do things biologically impossible. People are telling me that nobody reads the paper anymore. I've tried this before, and I'm getting no. And it gets frustrating. And then I start to get that doom and gloom in my head. So then I go home, and then my spouse or my family or my friends who told me getting into newspaper sales, you got to be drunk to do that. Nobody's doing that anymore. Dying industry, dinosaurs. So then all that doom and gloom, and as I call it, that stinking thinking starts to get into my head. I know that if I go in Tuesday, if I got a bunch of no's come Monday and Tuesday, when I come in Wednesday or Thursday, when I pick up that telephone, the law of averages tells me I'm making a sale. I want to make sure that my motivation, that I don't have a lot of high highs and low lows, because you're going to have those weeks. You're going to have those times that it just like everything seems to just go, to heck in a handbasket. You get up in the morning and you're thinking to yourself, roll over, Tim, just roll over. And then there's other times that you say the same things, the same words you did the previous day that people told you the things biologically impossible. Now that day, it's kind of like, sure, I'd like to do advertising. You can take cash, correct? And you're kind of like, okay, yeah. So I want to make sure what I know my numbers. So when Bob comes to me and says, Tim, we're going to be doing this pet-friendly section. How many ads can what can you give me? Oh, I'll do a page by myself. Okay, really? You're going to do a page by yourself? For a page to look good, it's usually 8 ads. So Bob comes to me and says, Tim, you're going to give me 8. You're talking pet-friendly, all the pet stores, all these doggy daycares. You're going to give me 8. Okay, good. Then Bob asked me a question. Tim, how many prospects do you have that would fit this? 10. You're telling me you're going to get 8 out of 10. If you would ever come to me and said, I want to do a special, I want to do something promotional because I love dogs, I love cats, I'm going to ask you, it's like you better have at least 50 people that you can go see. And I'm using a national average. You better have at least 50 prospects on that list that I can look at and say, you know what? Okay, we got enough business. Because I think we've all been in a situation where we tried to run a promotional piece, and then I had to go back to the customer and I said, you know what? We didn't get that kind of response because we didn't get a lot of people doing it, so we're just going to put your ad in the regular paper. I need to be looking at this realistically. And again, I know a lot of you may have, or some of you have administrative side of it, and some of you have sales side of it, but I need to know how many people I need to talk to actually make a sale. If I know that, it becomes, I'm not saying this is easy, but it becomes much more manageable because I don't have a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. The next one, if you add it up, 25 calls, 8 were prospecting, 8 were selling, and 8 were servicing. This is that 1 extra call per day. This is that customer that we put on our to-do list on Monday, transferred it to Tuesday, transferred it to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we call them, then we keep transferring it. Before you leave the office, this is that one person that you've been meaning to call. For my outside people here, this is on the way back to the office when you're at the stoplight and you look down to the left and you said, I always wanted to go down there, turn the car. This is that customer. Our job in sales, especially in advertising, your job is to present information to me. If you think it's within my goals, within what I'm trying to do in my business, you need to present that information to me. Don't be making decisions for me. Well, Tim doesn't have enough money to run the process color. You don't know that. Well, you told me your budget was $100. Yeah, I'll tell you, my budget's $50 too. Until you create value for me, I'm not telling you everything I got here. So don't drive by. For my outside people, we've all driven by that one business. We're like, my gosh, if the wind picks up, it could have knocked that building over. They don't have any money. We've all done that. You don't know that. You don't know that because you know what? That 1 extra call, it's usually that one sale because everybody else, all your competitors, are thinking the same thing you're thinking. That pace is about to go under. They don't have the money for this. They wouldn't want to do that. So it's that 1 extra call per day. It's that one you've been putting off. Again, email them, phone them, leave a voicemail message for them. But I'm asking you that 1 extra call. We talk about value and 1 degree of separation. What separates the best of the best is that little extra effort, and that's this particular call. The next one is spec ads. 2 spec ads per day. We as adults are very visual in learning. So you could show me, if you're outside, or you could say, it's like, hey, do you have a copy of our publication? If you and I are talking on the phone, yeah, I have. Well, go to page number 2. That's what a quarter page looks like. That's what an eighth of a page looks like. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But until I see Tim Smith Consulting, till I see my little logo, till I see my name and address and phone number in print, I'm not really sold on it yet. Am I using spec ads? Am I sending those out to my customers? And you notice it's 2. So if I say that it's like, yeah, that sounds good, send that over to me. If you're running a special, if you're running something on spot color or process color, send me my ad, that eighth of a page in black and white, and then send it to me with that spot color. Send it to me with the spot color. So when you send out the specs, you're always sending what's in my budget that we had talked about, and maybe sending it, whether it's color, same quarter page, eighth of a page in color, or it could be black and white from an eighth of a page. Hey, Tim, I just was playing around. This is what the eighth of the page looks like that we talked about. For jollies, this is the quarter page, black and white, that, we might be able to put a couple more things in there for you. Again, it's my decision. So I want to make sure that I'm sending these out to the customers and I'm using our graphics people to the best of their advantage. 2 spec ads. 3 things business owners look for from their vendors. As a business owner, 3 things. Increasing sales, decreasing my costs, and reducing my aggravation factor. Again, if you can help me, your job is to help me generate traffic to my website. It could be to my Facebook page, whatever, get my phone to ring, or people walking in my door. If you can help me increase my sales, I'm loving you, which you guys can. That's what industry you're in. Decreasing costs. If you can bundle things together, if you can put together a package for me, if I can run it, say, 16 weeks instead of 8 weeks, and it's going to be less expensive, share that information with me. It's kind of like, I noticed that you're doing this, Tim. We can bundle this with that, and we can actually reduce your advertising dollars per week. Well, I didn't know that. Can you run something? Can you set something up for me? Sure. And then the aggravation factor is that if you call me, and I'm kind of like, can you email it to me? And then you call me again, you're bothering me. When you leave a message for me, please leave your telephone number slow enough. You already know your phone number. I don't. And if I got to play that message back 5 or 6 times, I'm getting frustrated and aggravated with it. So leave your telephone number up front in the message, after your name, where you're from, and then my phone number is slowly. I want to deal with people that don't bother the heck out of me. So the 3 things. So when I look at these 3, you guys already have this. So in terms of trying to get inside the business owner's brain, increasing sales, reducing costs, and reducing the aggravation factor. What separates us from Craigslist is we have graphics. Hey, let me do that. You probably want to get out of there at the end of the day. Last thing you want to do is sit there after you closed everything up, check the receipts, did the cash box, whatever dropped, and now have to come up with your own advertising. Going through all these little clip art things and trying to, mix and match and cut and paste. I can do that for you. Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, this is what we offer. Well, how much does that cost? It's part of our service that we bring to you. Well, yeah, that sounds great. If I can get out of here an hour early. Any little thing that you can bring up that keeps me from, going nuts and staying late at night. Questions.
Okay. Hey,
and I put
Tim?
these in, yeah.
Tim, just wanted to give you a rest there for a second. 'Cause you're the only guy I know that can make Joe Nicastro and me feel like we're talking slow. So I wanted to give you a rest there for a second, and also encourage folks. I've got a couple of questions here, but I want to encourage folks to get the rest of them in here. One particular question I'm going to hold to the end. The question about whether this session is archived. It's being recorded. If the recording is good, we will have it archived. It's always a crapshoot for that. And Tim, we've got 3 people who want to hire your cat. Given that, if you folks want to shoot me some questions, I'll make sure Tim gets to them.
Yeah, my cat. I'm 54 years young, so my cat's old school. She doesn't know when to quit. She just keeps asking. She's like, if any of you have kids, Mom, can I go out? No, come on, 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 no, come on. If you want good closers, get your kids. They're great closers. Also, to kind of piggyback what Bob had just said about the recording, at the end of this, I will have my contact information. I will have my email address. So if you want these slides, email me today, and I'll make sure that you get all these slides, because I know I'm giving you a bucket load of information, and we have an hour to get all this in. So if you want to email me, I can send you the whole slide presentation in it. And if, as Bob said, that if you're shy, I also have my phone number on there or my email address. If there was a question that you didn't get to ask or were afraid, well, this is dumb, you can email me or call me, and I can actually respond to your question individually then. Okay, questions, because everybody, again, we were given a slide rule, we were given a desk, we were given basically a call list and told people to go, we'll ask questions. Okay, what do I ask? These are the questions, and I broke it down into inbound calls. So if you get more people that are just trying to sell their John Deere tractor, they got a refrigerator, they got an estate sale going on, or yard sale, anything that they want to sell, more from an individual basis. These are some of the questions to ask to get that person talking. Your average phone call is going to be, from what I got throughout the U.S., your average phone call and an inbound call is going to be about 3 to 5 minutes. You're going to probably get longer, but the average call is going to be about 3 to 5 minutes. Again, I want to be responding rather than just they're asking questions and I'm just spattering information out. I want to get them to tell me about the product they're selling and understand their mindset. Hey, I like the place it at. You know, my mom passed away, and we got a bunch of things that we would like to sell. First of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your mom passed. My condolences. I can help you. Can I ask you a couple questions to get a better sense of what you're looking for? Sure, not a problem. I always want to ask their permission, and I want to do this in a conversational manner. Now, have you done anything like this before? No, this is the first time. Okay, you know, I can help you. I can walk you through the process. If they have done this before, if you could do a do-over, what would you do different? You placed this ad before. You said you've sold some refrigerators or sold some, you know, lawn chair furniture, whatever. You know, if you could do it again, what would you do differently? You know, we call it, I can't do a do-over, but I can do a do-better. So if they've done this before, what would you do differently? Okay, and I want to be writing all this down. Okay, do you want to sell this item fast or for top dollar? So when I talk about fast or top dollar, it's, hey, we can, and I can help you. I can take my experience. I can look at the other things that people do. They're selling what price it is, and I can share, I can give you, kind of lead you to where it needs to be. If you just want to get rid of this, if you want to churn and burn it, fine. If you want top dollar for this, if this is an heirloom, and you're not just going to take, you know, best offer, we can work with that. But I just want to know what your mindset is as far as when do you want to turn and churn and burn this stuff? You know, you said your mom passed. Is the furniture in a storage bin, or is it still in her apartment, and do you have 10 days to get this stuff out? All of this information, all of these questions, now you're helping the customer think. You are my marketing person. You are my marketing consultant here. Do you have a dollar amount in mind of what you're selling? Have you looked around to see what other items have sold for this? Again, the Craigslist. Well, I looked at Craigslist. Okay, good. I like that you're doing your due diligence. That's good. You know, we've taken a couple John Deere tractors. We've taken a couple snow blowers before. And if it's 5 horsepower, we're looking at, usually the price range is between like 200 and 300. Again, if you want to churn and burn this, you can do it for probably about 150, 175. But if this thing is still in good running shape, by all means, let's try to get your top dollar for this. Do you want the ad to stand out in the paper? Again, if you've advertised before and you mentioned that the one thing that you would do over, that it was like you felt that your ad got lost in the paper. We can put a border around it. We can do a color. If you have a picture of the item, you know, that'd be great. You can send it to me. I can put that in. Well, I'm not sure. How much would that cost? You know what? Let's put that in the back burner. I'll put some, after we're talking, after you and I are done talking, I'm going to take this information and I'm going to put together, you know, a couple ads for you, you know, design them and then send them back to you. And I'll do one with black and white. I'll do one with color. I'll give you a couple options. Oh, okay, you can do that? Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Have you thought about the length of time? The rule in advertising is 8. Again, if you want to churn and burn this, we can probably bypass that. But if you want to do it for best value here, what we found in our industry is it needs to run at least 8 times. At least 8 times. Again, don't talk to strangers. Children should be seen and not heard. You know, it's your choice, but I want to just make sure that you're not just putting something in, and when I call you next week after it goes in, you're not frustrated with me and saying, well, Tim, nobody responded to the ad. One-time ads usually don't work. One-time ads don't work. So I want to, again, I'm going to give you a couple different options here for you. What are your expectations? Do you expect to sell this after one time? You had said you advertised some items before and you sold some things before. Okay, how long did it take? Well, it took longer than I thought. Okay, so I don't want to set your expectations up and promise something that it's going to sell this week. I can't guarantee that. But I just want to make sure that you and I are on the same page here. Would you like the ad? What would you like the ad to look like and say? Think about the ad as you and I talking. That if somebody would call you, if you would do this by yourself, and somebody from Craigslist called you, and they say, well, what's it look like? That I want to kind of put the ad, I want the ad to talk, that it would be its own salesperson. What are the top 3 selling points of this? You said it was an heirloom piece, okay? Is it handmade? Is it oak? Is it German? A couple of different things in it. Do you have a budget in mind that you would like to spend? And again, I did this before. I want to try to do the best value for the buck. Okay, but I just want to get an idea of, so I'm not sending the information that it's like, okay, it's $1,000, and then I got to call paramedics, because I almost gave you a heart attack here. Do you have a picture of the item? Can I get a copy of it? Because I can put that in. Again, I'm going to send you different information. Thank you. And you always want to thank people. I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to put together a plan for you, and I'm going to send it to you. What's easiest? Can I fax it or email it to you? Again, these are the inbound calls. I know this sounded like an interrogation until you get the handle of this. And don't try to get all these questions asked or answered in one setting. Look over it. Again, email me. I'll email you the slides. Look over the questions and saying, okay, out of the questions that I just gave you, what are you comfortable with saying? Again, I got a lot of front desk people here. I got a lot of administrative people here. And I know you're not used to the sales aspect of it. But it's just conversation. It's not selling. It's helping this customer sell this particular piece. So if I can just ask you a couple questions. Again, I know for the admin people here, you may be the front person, you may be at the front desk. When I walk off the street, you're not only taking phone calls, but you're dealing with people off the street. So again, I don't want to waste people's times, but I don't want to take something that I know that's not going to work for them. I don't want to rob them. So look through the questions and saying, hey, I like this. You know what, I can say that. I could see me saying that, and that's good, and getting comfortable with it. And then you can lead up to all of the questions, or you can pick and choose what you feel is best for you. That's from the classified, the person, that's the individual coming in. The next set is the business to business. Is me and you, my church, my consulting business, whatever it is. What are the goals or the plans of your business this year? Well, it's to stay alive and to make money. Okay, good, make money. I like that. The reason is, and just getting them in the next 3 months, are any of your vendors doing any promotions? If you're a Toyota dealer, is Jan doing any special promotions? Is that guy from Ford giving away anything? Because if you have anything like that, we can tie this in. I know you're not looking at long term here, but let's look over the next couple of months. The reason I want to know what their goals, their plans are, by knowing this, and I put this in black, I bolded this, not to yell at you guys, but by knowing this, it makes you important. Because now you're not just coming in and selling inches in space. What your job is you get me to take a step back. Whenever you come in, you're not just talking about selling an ad. You're talking about my business. Okay, hey, Tim, end of March, we got April, May, and June coming up. We got the spring coming up. You doing anything different? You running any particular specials here? I know in the past you've done this and this. I know the things you've done in July and August and September, so we want to hold that. I don't want to just blow your whole budget right now in the next 3 months. Oh, okay. What what Bob Mum does and what the IFPA board does with these insights, they actually get you to take a step back because we're all busy. We're all going Mach 50 with my hair on fire. Some of the things that I brought up, you may already do. Tim, I already know this. Okay, great. Do you do it on a daily basis? Do you do it on a daily basis? Again, do you ask questions? I know I'm supposed to ask questions. I know I'm supposed to make calls, okay? Are you making enough calls to be successful? So what makes you different than everybody else out there, you're more concerned about me. Because I know you're not just trying to sell me something to hit your budget that week or that month. Okay, so we're looking at, I know where your business is going. What do your customers like about you? Why do they come back? And I want to get the customer talking. This is like from the classified side, what are the 3 best-selling items? Now, why do customers love you? Why do they keep coming back? Well, we customize this, we do this, we do this. Okay, why they're telling you that, you start writing because they're going to write their own ad. I think we've all been in the position where we've gone out to companies, restaurants particular. I've seen this. I've been on a 4-legged call. The one person, the salesperson was saying, it's like, okay, hey, why don't we do this to get some traffic in? Why don't we do buy one entree, get another one free? No, I can't do that. Okay, why don't we buy one dessert, get another one free? No, I can't do that either. Okay, the movie theater is there. Why don't we attach something to the movie? Bring in your ticket stub, you get a free dessert. No, I can't do that. And we walked out of there, and I looked at the rep, and I'm like, well, we know what he can't do. So if I need to change my questions. If I'm not getting the answers I'm looking for, then start talking about why do people come back? Why do you get repeat customers coming in? Why do people keep calling you? Well, they like this, they like this. Okay, good. Because they know their business better than anybody. And now you're not telling me, right now, you've never even said anything about, well, we have 39,000 circulation, we go to 167 counties, we're in 55 different zip codes, we can do this, we can do this. You never even asked. I never even knew that yet. Again, this is not show up and throw up. So what I've seen is too many people coming in. It's like, I want to do some advertising. Well, you came to the right place. We can reach X amount of people. Our readership lives. We have a CVC audit report here from Mr. Tim Bingaman that says that this and this. The only thing I heard out of that is I. I never heard, Tim, can I ask you a couple questions? I want to know about you. Why did you start this business? I always find it interesting why you did this. What you want to do, and for the people that are outside salespeople, next time you're in that customer's place, I want you to look behind the cash register. Most of them have a dollar bill that this was my first dollar, first $5. And they had their anniversary date. What I want to do is what's going to set you apart from everybody else, keep that anniversary date in your particular file or in their particular folder. And then when their anniversary is coming up, send them an anniversary card. Send them and say, hey, happy 5th anniversary. Happy 4 months in business. And I will remember that. So I always want to why just start this? I want to go back to where you were. That Sunday night, you were opening, you had the keys, you were a grand opening come that Monday morning. What were you thinking? I was thinking, what the hell did I get myself into? Okay, mostly that's what people do. But I just want to understand where their mindset is. I wanted to get away from that car dealership because we really didn't service cars. We just churned and burned. My thought is that when I open my garage is I want to make sure that prom season's coming up. I want to make sure that if your son goes out and gets his date, that his car gets her and him home safely. And if there's anything that I can do, if it breaks down, I'm going to be there for them and for you. Okay. Wow, that's great. Again, I just want to understand where they're coming from and understand their mindset. What does your average customer look like? I want to get a sense of, because if we mail our publication, if you mail your publication and you have certain zip codes, I can ask them, what does your average customer look like? Well, what do you mean? I just want to know age-wise. Is it 18 to 25? Is it more, you're 40-ish to your 60s? Are you more family, or are you pretty much all over the spectrum? Well, I'm pretty much all over the spectrum. Why do you ask? Again, we have a lot of different promotions. We have a lot of different special things that we can do. So if you're looking for your target market are families between 45 and 50 or 45 and 55, we actually have a lot of those gated communities that we can actually put your ad into those publications and send it out specifically, mail it to them. Wow, I didn't know you guys do that. It's part of our service here. Oh, okay. Well, I'm all over. Where do you get people from presently? What geographic area? Where would you like to penetrate from? What are the buying patterns of your customers? Do you get most of your business at the beginning, the middle, or the end of the month? Like a car dealership, most of it's at the end of the month. Well, why do you want to know that? Well, I don't want to put, if you're going to do car and we're going to do the retail side of it, I don't want to spend all your money, on the first 2 weeks when you're not getting a lot of traffic. So we can actually take your budget for that month and say, and it's like, let's do a smaller ad, Monday, the first 2 weeks, and then let's do a full page or maybe a half page the last 2 weeks when people are going out and buying cars. So we can do a lot of different things. So I want to make sure that we're not just throwing something out there, ad hoc or the shotgun theory to be able to get you, where you're going and what, the biggest bang for your buck here. Oh, okay. What current advertising are you doing? What's your budget like? I could care less. They're going to lie to you anyway with this. It's like, I don't do any advertising. Really? Because when I was watching Criminal Minds last night, you had your commercial on. I like the purple shirt. I like the purple with the black. That was nice. He looked good. I could care less. The question I want to know is how we're going to measure this. We all hate that. We hate it. Again, going back, what are your expectations? I want to know how you're going to measure this. What do you mean measure it? My job is to get people to your doorstep, to make that phone ring, to make that door open, or drive traffic to your website. That's my job. I can't sell stuff for you. So I want to know how we're going to measure this, because I know you're on the floor. I know you're not only just the owner, but you deal with customers. So what I'm asking you is, when the ad goes in, and I'll send you a copy, and I'll tell you where it's in the paper, what I need from you is that when you're dealing with customers, I want you to ask them, what brought you in today? How did you hear about us? Okay? Yeah, because I want to be able to measure this. I got information. I got enough audit reports here. I got enough testimonial. I got enough references that said my paper works. And I know it works. It helps people. But I need to be able to prove that to you. So I need you to ask what brought people in. I had a young lady in Western Michigan. She asked this question at a chiropractor she was working with, and he said, oh, it's easy. That telephone number in the ad, that's my cell phone number. Oh, okay. He goes, so now I know. Now I can keep track of all the people who see the ad. It goes right to my cell phone. Okay? When I come back with a marketing plan, and the reason I say what current advertising are you doing, what's your budget like, I just want to kind of get an idea. So when I come back with a marketing plan of $1,000, you loving me or asking me to leave? $1,000, what do I look like? Donald Trump? That's the good news. It won't be. How I want to position this in my head. I want to use your average size ad, your open rate, and 8 exposures. So if this person's thinking about a quarter page, what's your quarter page? What's your open rate for a quarter page? Well, it's $80. Okay, $80 times 8, $640. So when I throw that $1,000 out, I just wanted, that's what we call a buying signal. If they choke or they faint, you know you're over. If they don't blink or if they don't say anything, I'm in the ball game. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the information. What I want to do is I want to take all this back. I want to send it to you. What's easiest, the fax or an email? And then I want to set up another appointment where I can come back and I can share this information with you. Last 2 slides, guys. I always end in, I gave you a bucket load of information. Gave you a bucket load. I call it, in what way can I? All I'm asking is you take one piece of information that I shared today. Take one idea and go back and apply that idea. What can you take away? Just one thing that you can take away from this particular session. And go back and put it on a Post-it note. Put it on your computer. Keep it front and center. Top of mind is what we call it. Then if you want a copy of this, please. There's my telephone number. I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm Eastern Time. but there's my email address. If you want a copy of the slides, please, I will send them out to you. And if you have any questions, by all means, use me as a resource. I want to thank Bob. I want to thank you guys for giving me the hour, and hopefully it made sense. Hopefully it was, if I took it from the back of your brain to the front of your brain, we've done good today. For those of you that want my cat, not happening. Not happening. But I want to thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time. Happy spring. Go be brilliant. Bob, closing remarks?
Tim, thank you, and I really appreciate what you've done for us out there today, and I know other folks out here do too. One question that came up, and I thought you might want to address this. Earlier, very early in your presentation, you suggested that that people might give customers information on other customers' pricing. And some people had some questions about whether that was a good approach to take. And I was wondering what your experience was on that.
I'm not going to share the business name with people. When I brought up the Jiffy Lube 2895 and 1995, if I run a Jiffy Lube, if I run any type of garage, I should know where my competition is. So I'm just going to say, hey, I've taken a couple other ads for a couple other garages. This is where they're at. I mean, they should know this anyway. So I'm not revealing any confidential information for anybody. I've taken a couple ads. We've worked with some other people. Well, who are they? I'm not going to disclose that because I'm not going to share the name of your business with other people either. But this is the average. This is pretty much the average price range that they're in. I can put it in for this. I just want to share with you what other people are doing out there. Is how I would answer that.
Okay, very, very good. Because I know some people were concerned about that. Just want to give you a little bit of a heads up on something for you folks coming up in April. Our old friend J.W. Owens is going to be back. Many of you remember his 2020 program on empowering your sales team with iPads. His follow-up on apps and that every salesperson would love, that is one that people are still going to on YouTube among these archive sessions. But this next time, JW is going to turn his attention to customer relationship management systems, CRMs. The structure and capability that these things provide are increasingly topics in our Publisher Summit conversation. JW is going to approach it not from the standpoint of a particular system, but of the aspects and capabilities to be aware of when you evaluate them. We'll be looking forward to seeing him in April. And if you're having any kind of weather like Tim and I have been having, we're all looking forward to April. But visiting with JW is going to be another good reason. But in the meantime, this is Bob Munn speaking for Tim Smith and the entire IFPA Board of Directors saying the future doesn't begin tomorrow. It's starting right now, this instant, with what you plan to do with the ideas you saw today. There's still plenty of time today to help your customers make some money, and you're just the folks to do it. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks for stopping in. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.